So, do I send my income to my line of credit just one time a month, like you show in the overview? Or do I send it to the line of credit multiple times a month as I get paid? Okay, that is a fantastic question that came in from one of our subscribers, and we are going to tackle it in today's training. Hey everyone, it's Mike Adams, and on this channel we empower individuals to achieve freedom through improved financial literacy and business ownership. If you are new to the channel, make sure to click subscribe and click the bell so that way you get notified on any and all of our future content. In today's comments section video, guys, and this is where we're diving into some of your guys' questions as we comb through the comments here. Again, love answering your guys' questions, so keep them coming on the videos, and we'll do our best to get that question on the video creation list. And you never know. If you got a good question about anything you see in these trainings and you put that question in there, we might make a video just like this to answer your particular question. Okay. So today's question is coming in from one of our subscribers, acandy7, and they came in and they said, so you just popped up in my feed and I love this video. Thank you. Question, you say send your $5,000 monthly over to your line of credit. Is that all at once? So I collect all of our income and then we make one payment to the line of credit? If so, where am I keeping the income if we've done away with the banks? This seems like such a silly question to me. Or am I literally taking our weekly paychecks and paying to the line? Okay, and let me just start by saying there are no silly questions, okay? And you've heard this in my other videos in the past, but as an Army veteran, they used to always tell us the only dumb question is one that you don't ask, okay? Anything that you ask that moves you closer to total clarity, that is a good question. So thank you for stepping up and asking that question. So let's dive into it. Okay, let's break it down. So when we talk about, in the scenario, I know what we're doing, again, in the overview video that we're talking about here, this is just our general overview of Velocity Banking, which was created in a way just to give really just the most simplistic, definition possible to help people get into the ballpark, right? Not everybody's going to gain total clarity around this strategy the first time they see a training. Even myself, I had to watch this training multiple times before it really started to click. The light bulb started going off like, okay, this actually does make a lot of sense compared to what I thought. And what I thought was keeping my wife and I very, very broke when we were out there in corporate America. So, but anyways, so how do we pay this, right? Do we pay it in one lump sum like we saw you do in the overview, or do we pay it kind of as we get paid, okay? And the quick answer to that question is you're going to want to send in the 5,000, like if that was your number for the month, your net income for the month. But let's say it's coming across two paychecks, right? So you get a net paycheck of 2,500 and another net paycheck of 2,500. What you would do is when you get that first net paycheck of 2,500, you would send it in. When you get the second one, you would send that in. So essentially, you're going to pay your line of credit as you get paid, okay? Now, here's what that does, and here's why we do that. Your line of credit is charging you interest based on what's called the average daily balance, okay? So again, if you're using a credit card to do this scenario, what we like is we like 0% interest balance transfer credit cards, and there's videos that where we've talked about some of the best balance transfer credit card offers that you can use for this strategy. Okay, so there'll be a link here, below the video where we talk about some of the different credit cards that are really, really good for this, where we can get a good balance transfer offer at 0%, okay? But let's say, okay, we're leveraging a line of credit that is it does have interest, right? It is an interest-bearing line of credit. And so credit cards go by what's called the average daily balance to calculate your interest charge. Now, by paying multiple times per month, and if you get paid weekly, right? If you get paid daily, right? If you were to get paid daily, you get the money into the bank and you could send it into your line right away. By making the payments early and often, what you're doing is you're lowering your average daily balance, okay, that they're gonna be charging you interest on each month. Again, if your line of credit is charging you interest. So it's in your best interest to make those payments as you get paid versus holding onto it for the month and then sending it all at once. Because again, if you're waiting until the end of the month or the last day of the billing cycle before you pay, you're going to have a higher balance each of those days leading up to that last day in your billing cycle. So you'll end up paying, again, if there's interest on your line, you'll end up paying more interest than you needed to. By sending payments in throughout the month, you're going to be reducing that average daily balance. So you'll end up paying less total interest. Now, into the second point, where we talk about, if we were to hold on to it to the end, which we don't want to, but if we were, where do we keep the money if we've done away with the banks? Okay, and I wish, okay, for most people, again, there are ways that you can kind of do away with the banks. There's techniques like infinite banking out there where you can bank on yourself, okay? But for most people and in most scenarios, it's very, very difficult to completely avoid the banking system. Okay, gosh, we wish we could, because we know most of the time we're dealing with the banks that we are getting raked over the coals, and a bank's sole mission is to get us for interest, right? So when you're playing that game, we know what their objective is, right? And that's really the point of like this channel and everything we're talking about here is just understanding how banking works, how credit works, how lines of credit work, how loans actually work. Because again, most people aren't going to be able to just totally avoid the banking system, whether it's for your own personal finances, you want to buy a house. Most people aren't going to have an infinite bank in the size to buy their first house. They're probably going to use a bank or a lender to get money. So most of us are going to have to use the banking system. The bottom line, though, is we don't want to use the banking system blind. You know what I mean? Where we don't know what's going on, and we just, as long as we can afford the monthly payment, we don't want to, dive into the paperwork or anything like that. That's too tough. No. So again, we might not actually be able to just kind of go without the banks, but we just need to understand a little bit more about how the banks work, how the banks actually make money, how they leverage our money to make more money, and turn around and pay us very little money in interest in your checking or savings account or your high yield savings account, not very much. But yet they're able to fractional reserve lend that money out and make a lot of money lending money they create from thin air to other people at much higher interest than what they're paying us in the bank account. So this whole channel is really just all about awareness. Okay, so if we can't avoid the banking system, then the next best thing is, if you're going to have to play in that arena, is to know how to play the game, right? And as long as you know the rules and you're increasing your financial awareness to understand how to play the game, okay, you're reducing your risk of getting raked over the coals blindly in fees or in interest, just going right to the banks, because you're arming yourself with financial education. So great question. Hopefully you guys found value in this discussion and in this answer. And again, guys, don't be shy with the questions, okay? Bring it. My goal is to help you gain clarity around all the different things we're talking about on this channel. So if you ever have a question, get those questions in the comments, and we just might make a comment section video just like this to answer your particular question. But that's all for this one. We'll see you in the next video.